Um, versus if you're uncertain about your day and
Mm-hmm.
you don't really think about it in that way, and I ask you, then you're like, it's good, I guess.
For sure. For sure. For sure. You know, because when people ask that question, I'm like, do you actually care about my day? Or are you just asking
I mean,
just
I
for,
think it's out of habit. I think people ask it out
or
of
are you just
habit.
asking for like small talk? Because
Yeah.
you
So
know, when like even in any type of environment or even work environment, like how you doing? And like, do you actually care how I'm doing? Or are you just making small talk,
like if I
just
go
to fill the space?
terrible, bro, my day's shit. Like, is that gonna change your thing? You know, I
I
feel like go.
I do think that when you if you do say terrible, I do think that it opens up more of a conversation because it also makes it kind of feel like there are flaws,
Mm,
makes you feel relatable,
mm.
and then you kind of want to go more in depth about it. Whereas if your day is always great, or if you perceive as being perfect, or anything to that aspect, you start to people don't really ask questions or nothing. They
Yeah,
like you got it all solved or figured out.
I do. I don't even see. Okay, so I asked. I'm almost hold on. I kind of want to wait on them because we're already talking about some good stuff.
He's good.
Oh, we're good.
You know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we're. Oh, okay. Welcome to Conscious Continuity. I got where we talk about the mind, alignment, out of body, and things that relate to your intuition. I have my good, wonderful friend, Mr. Oliver, on the show with us today. He's a phenomenal guy. We've had awesome relationship, man. He's a really good guy. And yeah, we were already talking. I don't know how much of that was recorded already, but we're just gonna pick up where we left off. And yeah, so we were just on the subject of um, we are just on the subject of if you ask someone how their day is and kind of the knee jerk answer, which is oh it's good, and you were saying how people become a bit mechanical with it. So when someone asks about your day, and we kind of just mechanically do the thing, you pose a question: do people even really care? I would say people aren't even thinking about it, and that's why when I ask, if like, "How's your day?" and then they go, "Oh, it was good," I'm like, "What was good about it?" Or I
Mhm.
ask, "What has been the highlight of your day today?"
Yeah.
So that's like the stuff I'll do. So if someone asks me that, like assuming I'm not calling AT&T and I'm like, oh, how's your day? Like, maybe I don't ask the AT&T person
Hmm.
just because I want them to set my internet up. If it's in person, I'll ask like two questions. Either I ask, what's the highlight of your day? Or if they say, oh, my day's good, I'm like, but what about it's good?
Hmm.
So that's what I do, and that's always generates
No,
more.
I do think that's solid because it's like a follow up. Whereas if it's just you ask the question, then they say this, and then you're like, okay, and you kind of go with the day depending on the situation. Like if it's in a work environment again, it's like, okay, cool. But if your follow up question is basically how you worded it, then I think that's a great follow up.
Yes. Do you think that um do you think like right now when someone asks you that, I mean, I don't think do you think anything more than it? Like do you like the significance of like what you're posing the question,
Uh,
what's the practical application for you? Like do you feel any type of way when someone asks that or
yeah, I guess it goes back to it just being a broad question. Whereas like for example, I can instead of saying, "Hey, how you doing?" or whatever, and be like, "Anything new today? Anything new has happened?" And then they can tell you, like, "Yeah, I got this new thing going on," or whatever the case. Whereas, not to say I don't care about your day, I think that if you ask them a question like that go-to question that you want them to answer, then it can go from there.
mm,
Whereas, I think everybody's day is kind of what they want to tell you
mm. do do you have any questions? So for you, what would be your like what would be your more ideal experience?
based off that question.
Based up, because I think
If you ask me how my day,
ask your day because that came from I don't know if it was recording yet, but because I said I asked people what's their purpose because I was giving you an answer
mm-hmm,
about you asked about the podcast. You said, "Hey, what's the difference between DC 100 and excuse me, conscious continuity?" And I was answering the question saying that basically conscious continuity is for people who, when I ask them, hey, what's your purpose? Do you know what your purpose is here on this earth? And conscious continuity is really for people who have an answer or they are discovering the answer. Like they're aware that there is a purpose. And then DC 100 is more so for people that are like, hey, what's your purpose? They go, I mean, what are you talking about? I'm to work and make money.
I do think that when it comes to the purpose, it's also to me it's kind of broad. At the same time, I think that it's about helping or giving or whatever value you think that you have, you can bring to people.
Okay, so now, okay, all right. Okay, so,
As far as how I perceive purpose to be,
okay.
whereas someone else's purpose is maybe whatever they are really good at and they want to either educate people in doing
Mm-hmm.
or they create a cult following because that's what those people are into.
Mm.
So I do think that how I look at it is like, this is how I look at purpose. It's like me asking someone, like a woman or some sort, like, how do you perceive cheating? And everybody's take on cheating is different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I want to get to the meat and potatoes of each word. It's just that how you define cheating is completely different how I define cheating. Even though we can say physically cheating is, we can all agree that that's cheating, but leading up to cheating, whether it's texting another
You make
person,
yourself available
or
like,
some even probably think that a guy buying you a drink at the bar is cheating. So that's what I was like. What is your perspective on what you consider purpose?
So when I ask the question, I'm just looking for yours. I have my idea of what it means to me. But when I ask the question to other people, I'm looking for what it means to them because I agree with you. Purpose manifests in an infinite a number of ways. Everyone has a unique one. And so what I like to hear, just as a conversation, what excites me to talk about is what about yours? Like what is specific your thing? And if you don't know what it is, I would love to participate in your discovery of it. Like that's just how that's how I am.
Fair.
It's like I believe that there's no such thing as random. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think there's a such thing as luck. I think these are all words that we use to describe phenomena that we don't understand how it came to be. So if you don't understand how this thing happened, you just say, "Oh man, I got so lucky." Or if you don't understand how the bad thing happened, you're like, "Damn, that's unlucky, man. Oh man, wrong place, wrong time." Like this kind of ideology.
Like karma and stuff, like I don't necessarily say I believe in karma, but I do think there's an equal of an exchange of energy.
I was gonna say,
depending on how you distribute it.
Yeah,
sure.
I think there is. I think to my knowledge, my knowing is that there's a yin and a yang, right? For every thing, there's a opposing thing, and I don't necessarily think of it as good karma, bad karma. It's just as you're saying, there's an energy, there's an equivalent exchange of energy, and that exchange happens and shows itself in a number of different ways. But the universe is perfectly balanced, and you may not be able to perceive it. Like that's why some people are like, man, that guy's ripping people off, and he's got millions, he's scamming everybody. Oh man. It's like but that guy, he may be dealing with some other thing, or he may be. It's like it's hard to perceive how it's balanced sometimes from a limited mind, from your physical mind, but it's perfectly balanced. It's just like you may not be able to perceive it in that moment, but it's balanced in a way that's beyond their understanding, I think.
You made me definitely think of something, because not to go into politics, because the guy I was speaking with, he was very against a certain individual, and to each his own who you decide you want to participate in.
Yeah.
And he was explaining how, these people are making X amount of dollars, and then there's these other people that are just trying to make it or what have you. And it was kind of like, when I was hearing it, it was like the victim mentality. Even though we are the same culture and we understand some of the limitations and things that happened in the past, it was like, did you not learn or want to read into it? Did you want to educate yourself on finances or anything to that nature. Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing any of those things, you're kind of playing the victim and you're pointing the finger at people that are already in positioning. But it's not like it's like being the owner of a building. We're not going to tell you the benefits of what I can do for you, even though you want to lease the building through me. Even though I can probably do a little bit more, but I'm not going to give you more because I still want to make more on the back end. It's just you're going to have to go get out there and learn and educate yourself and move forward. But some
Mhm.
people don't do that. They like to play victim.
I first of all I agree with that, and I think it's just the easier route. I think it's so for me, like I've always for a long time I've had the idea of everything is my fault. So even if it's beyond my understanding, I just had this kind of intuitive knowing that it's all my fault, and I was taking responsibility for everything, even things that people I couldn't understand how it was my fault, but I just felt like it was my fault still. And fault doesn't inherently mean something bad. And why I'm bringing this up is because if I say it's anything else other than my fault, I'm giving that aspect or power away from me, the aspect of ability to influence. So if I go, oh man, well, that's not my fault. So and so did it. Well, I'm putting control of my life circumstance on so and so. I'm saying, well, if he didn't rip me off, or my mom didn't do this, or if my dad was like this, you are assigning control and your way that you currently are. It's to something outside of yourself. You can't change the other person. You can only change your behavior and how you show up and what you do. It's like whatever someone else does is whatever they do, and I believe that people, because it's uncomfortable, hard, and maybe difficult to understand how, well, I didn't choose to be born here. I didn't choose it is. Yeah, you did. You did choose to be born here. If you follow the idea of spirit and your soul, you didn't randomly just happen to be here and just a random set of circumstances. You select these things, to my knowing, from all my meditative experiences and my out of body experiences. Like it's a selection process. You pick the kind of experience that you want to have. And don't get me wrong, I can look at some people's situations and like, why would you choose to be born in this messed up country and then you just get, I don't know, sex trafficked till 8 and then you get killed? It's like, I don't know why a soul may chose to experience that. But if you understand the idea of a soul, it's like it seeks all experiences,
Mhm.
like to every degree and every range. It seeks all these experiences to gain experience and knowledge. And so I believe that once you have that understanding, you'll begin to be able to assert control back over your circumstances, and that control over your circumstances will allow you to bring forth the scenarios that you want. But as long as you view it like any part of your life, as long as you view it as an outside reason that's happening, you make it unattainable almost to do anything about it. But once you have like, man, once you, instead of being like, oh, this happened to me, and you change that lens to why would I have sought this experience? How could that experience serve me? And if you come from that lens, I believe you get like exponentially more value, and it helps you leave that mindset of, man, these guys got billionaires, and man, they're doing this, and
Mhm.
because that's you say all that, then what? Okay, so even if I join you in your pity party, and I go, yeah, man, you know what, dude, yeah, they are, man, they did hold you, man, you got hold, man, they messed you up, man, they scammed you, man, man, yeah, you're right. Now what?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but if you assert control and like, I went through this experience, I got scammed, like with with uh with my with ClearPath, sponsor of today's podcast. Um, if when I first tried to repair my credit, dude, I got scammed. I got scammed like 3 times. And I was like, dude, what the? However, it led me to learn law, discover what law's about, what litigation's about,
Mm.
and then create this awesome entity that now can just sue people. And now someone can come to me and be like, "Hey, you owe us $10,000 collection," and I go, no, you actually owe me money, and I'm going to take you to court for it, and then they pay me. So that scam scenario and the short sighted I could have viewed it as, oh man, this is
Pity
awful,
party.
right? I could have been pity party, right? And then
But you grew
what?
from it.
Yeah, but instead I grew and I learned from it. So every situation is like that. And you know people, and I know people
Mhm.
where it's like they got scammed, ripped off, or whatever, and then they just sit there with bad, messed up credit, and they don't do nothing else. They just
Yeah, that's a fair take on that one. They definitely, and that's the other side of that credit part. You took it your direction. I took it the way I look at credit as well, where I was like, hmm, not that I'm thinking I'm gonna get scammed, but I'm definitely finna learn something, right?
yeah.
And the thing is, as you get older as well, you start to realize that's where mentorship and those factors do play a part into things where it's like, do I want to go wing it and learn it all myself, or do I want to get mentorship?
Mm.
Now, looking back on, I guess, my younger version, and I would tell anybody in the younger space, if you can afford it, you know, tap in with someone who can mentor you. And then once they provide you the value that you need just to move forward, unless they still have more value they can give to you. Because sometimes what happens is, even if they are on a subscriptional base as a mentor, you paying them all the time. If it's just for motivation purposes, then I don't necessarily always need the motivation purposes. Sometimes I need to move forward. I already have what I need. Not to say that we using one another or utilizing one another in this space. It's just the fact that I'm growing,
Mm.
and now I'm going in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so sometimes I think mentorship is cool, but only to a certain degree.
And you're bringing up this idea of mentorship from the idea of like if someone gets taken advantage of or whatever. It's like
Yeah,
having mentorship to guide you to help you avoid some of these circumstances, right?
100%. Because like when I was talking about how I can learn everything on my own,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool, but then it's like, hmm. Early on, I probably should have took mentorship because it would have bridged those long periods of time of just educating and learning myself. Now, I do think that you still should educate yourself in case situations do come about in regards to doctors, lawyers, or people in power and positions that we think know everything, whereas you can just ask subtle questions to really know if they're in your favor, and you find out like, you're just doing your job, and you don't really have my best interests. So I do think that you should still learn or educate yourself in certain spaces, whether it's credit, a law, or what have you. At the same time, me saying what I was saying earlier is because I would rather people looking to get mentorship early on, so therefore they don't have to go through the long periods of no sleep or possibly even getting scammed more and more and more. So it's just kind of like, I've been scammed before too. Don't get me wrong, but it's not just a one party thing. It's just, for me, that's just how I look at it in that space. And then just recently, it's probably going to be something new for the engineer as well. I came across a thing where, I'm going to say it right now. It was a, where is it at? So, you know the quote, jack of all trades?
But a master of none.
Do you know the full quote?
But a jack of all trades is a master of none, but usually is better than a master of one.
Exactly. And I thought that was cool because it's just that we always hear the
first half
or the second half. Second half kind of comes down the road because you're like, oh man, I always hear jack of all trades. And then you hear the master of none. And then we know the full quote, it's like you thinking that you got to be very great at one thing, or very good at one thing, which you should. But at the same time, it's like, why not be good at a lot of things? No different than, that was the full quote, by the way. So it's good that you blew that. But
Yeah.
I thought that was cool though because it's
No,
just
same.
like,
I mean, the only reason I know is because I just something on the line online, drew me to it, and I was like, I searched it up. I think it was like looking. I was like, man, what's that quote? Is Jack all trade match?
mhm.
And I looked it up and was like, and then I saw the full quote. I was like, oh, there's a full thing.
just like
I
the
was,
just like the curiosity of the cat.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, dang, the more you know, and that's also when it comes to limited way of thinking, because like we spoke about this before, whereas if you don't do your homework, anything that someone might bring to your attention that's new to your mind is kind of like Spanish or someone is speaking a different
yeah.
language.
Hmm.
Whereas in your mind, you wanna you it's like not saying want to be right, but you wanna know exactly what they're trying to say, but it's hard to interpret it if
Hmm.
they don't do their homework either. And we talked about what homework is. It's like
Yes.
going back to doing the shadow work, if you want to call it
Now,
that.
I was about to bring that up because I was about to say, in the, you know, in the spirit of, consciousness, some people do not understand, but they resonate. And
Mm-hmm.
so some people do not understand exactly what it is you're talking about, but they feel something. They feel what you're saying. And it goes back to the idea of like you can be in an argument or be motivated by someone. It's like, what were they talking about? It's like, dude, I don't know, man, but I don't know. I just made me want to fucking get after it though. It's
Right.
like they sometimes people don't clearly interpret the words, and they do not have they just don't follow that. But the one thing they will follow is the resonance and
Mm-hmm.
the frequency that you're on. And so that's something that happens to me very, very, very often. Almost daily, I'm out and about and I'm talking, and then I start talking to people, and I ask a question about, so what is your passion, or what would you do? And a lot of people who can't answer that question, where I start at, I'm like, okay. They're like, I don't know. I'm like, and they're like, no, I don't think so. I was like, have you ever been excited about anything in your life? And they're like, I mean, well, yeah. I was like, all right, this is a good place to start because passion naturally draws excitement. When you're passionate about something, you just naturally get excited about it. You get enthusiastic, and enthusiasm is a byproduct of passion. This is from my experience, and so when I'm talking to people, I'll ask them, okay, hey, what's your, I don't know a purpose, or, I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, well, let's start here. Let's say your job, I've talked to them a little bit now, so I know their job or whatever. Like this guy, I can't remember his name, but he's like in this office building I was looking at. And I asked him what's his deal. I was like, okay, let's say you right now, boom, $1 million gets paid to you annually, reoccurring millionaire, no matter what it is you do. Now, how do you spend your time? And people they'll start like, well, like some people, depending on how locked into work they are, they'll go, well, I'll probably try to take less hours. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, you don't have to work for the money. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so I don't have to come to the job? I'm like, no, bro. Like, you got the money. You
Yeah.
don't have to, like, they're just saying you get it. Like, you get the money. And they're like, well, shit. I mean, I wouldn't be coming here. I'm like, okay. So then what would you do? And then this encourages them to kind of think. And this one guy I just spoke to yesterday, he was just like, he was talking about his box company. Like, I was talking about my company, and he brought up his trucking. And so, okay, so I was like, so are you passionate about trucking? He was like, yes. I'm like, I just look up logistics, routes, and I'm like, see, that's good. Okay. I was like, and so let's say you get just this job paid you $1 million, like you would go into logistics. He's like, yeah, I would definitely. I like looking up the stuff. Like that's just his thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe our world is structured full of people who are just very interested in specific things that are a huge benefit to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll ask these questions, and then I'll probe, and I get these responses. Um, I get these responses from people. So this guy, he likes shipping, he like logistics. He's putting his energy into it, and then as he was talking about it, he like there's a certain lightness that people have when they talk about things that they like. And you're probably familiar with it when someone. I'm familiar with you when you talk about things you're excited, and I know you're definitely familiar with me because
Mm-hmm.
I'm there.
Passionate, yeah.
Yeah, I'm there near like that all the time. Um, And I think that quality, that sense of self, that feeling that people have, once explored deeper, will naturally benefit not only themselves to the highest extent, but everyone else. And it's like, it's to me, it's like that's to me like, and it may not, you may not be interested in that thing for
Long period of time.
yeah, for your entire life, but this is
100%.
what you're just most excited about right now.
Yeah, it's funny that you were saying that too, because I was thinking like, even with myself, I might be very well versed in something for a period of time, and then some time go by, and I'm like, I'm into this. I still know about this, but now I'm into this.
Yeah.
And sometimes what I think
And by
is,
well versed, when you say well versed, are you meaning
like, let's say for example, we're talking about spirituality, because I guess that ties into like astrology or something like that,
okay,
right?
yeah.
And it's like, I'm into astrology, I'm into numerology, but not so much as I used to be.
Yeah.
But I still know a thing or two. But at the same time, I don't like to harp on it, because even in certain situations, when people meet you or when they know that you're passionate about something, sometimes it's like when they see, it's like that version of you that they grew up with,
Yeah.
but they can't see you evolving from it.
Okay, yeah.
And sometimes people can put you in that box,
Yeah.
whereas they don't realize that you've grown from that. Not to say that what we're talking about as far as spirituality in that space is not anything negative or whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Like their interests. Like, so it's like, for example, just to reiterate what you're saying, which is like, let's say you're the BMX dude, right? So you rode bikes, you did tricks, and that's how your friends know you. It's like, he's like, oh man, I don't know what, BMX Joe. Like, I was trying to think of a bike name. BMX Joe, and then they see you, and it's like, oh, what up, BMX Joe? It's like, oh, I don't even ride bikes like that. No, oh man, but you always used to ride bike. No, I do this now. Man, but you were like this, and like, man, you don't. And it's like their image of you is you rode bikes and did tricks and stuff.
100%.
And then now they're having trouble, seeing you in any other way. But to me, that's like awesome, because that shows your growth. Here's an environment that didn't change. You go back into an environment as a changed person, environment doesn't recognize you, which is validation to your growth.
Yeah.
So to me, I see it positively. Although the experience can feel negative to some people, like let's say you go into your family house and now you're using different words, and this happened to me. It's like, oh man, you on some other stuff now. Like, oh, you doing some different. Why are you talking like that? Like, I don't know, bro. You done went to the city and changed and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm growing. Like,
Right.
I don't want to. I'm supposed to be gone. I leave for all this time and I come back and you like, yep, just the same type of dude. Like, no, man. It's like I want to be unrecognizable because of my growth. And the idea is that I don't want to be unrecognizable. I would like to still be recognizable in the sense of you grew as well. So you also can recognize a change as someone who grew in their own way, and it's a positive thing versus you didn't change at all. I come back and you interpret my change as negative.
100%. And some of those individuals, it's hard to kind of lock in with or just try to backpedal, because it's just like high and by at that point. Whereas I don't really want to sit down and kick it or do anything, because it's not any type of elevation. Like sometimes even when I reminisce on certain things, I'm like, we were all good at sports, cool. I don't care about the good old days and how many, scores or how many ladies or whatever you have, because it's just kind of like you highlighting things in the past. What can we highlight now?
Exactly. Yeah.
And even with some of the guys, even back home, it's like, even before streaming was a thing, dudes used to play games all day.
All day, yeah.
All day on
the sticks,
the console. Yeah. And I used to tell them, before it was popular, before COVID, before all that, I said, dude, why y'all just don't stream this stuff? Because I didn't really see the value in streaming, because I'm not into the gaming space.
Yeah.
But I also seen that if you guys want to make some type of money, why not stream?
You're doing it anyway.
Exactly.
You just sitting here playing anyway. Might as well,
And that's another reason why I kind of was like, well, since I already kind of doom scroll a little bit on the phone, I said, well, I guess I can record myself while I'm doom scrolling too
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
like I'm already doom scrolling a little bit. Might as well figure out how to capitalize off that too
Yeah.
because people doom scroll or we call it scrolling or
Yeah,
whatever you want to
yeah.
call it.
Turn it to bloom scrolling. We're usually blooming, man, growing your audience and
At the same time, I'm just like, well, you can do reactionary content because you already watch these type of videos. I don't do it for a long period of time, but I'm just saying that
like yeah,
why
utilizing.
not try to monetize it if you already do it as it is?
So you saying that brings up to another very common point that happens when I ask people about their purpose, what excites them. Usually, when people go, "Oh, this excites me," the thing that they do, what they block it out mentally, is they go, "Yeah, but you got to pay the bills." And there's this disconnect between doing the thing that excites you the most
Mm-hmm.
and then living here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a byproduct of, in my opinion, ignorance. Because it is the ignorance, it is the lack of knowledge of how doing the thing that excites you the most would not naturally cover and support you in your way of in ability to do it. Once you're in alignment, this is all from my
Personal
anecdotal
experience.
experience.
100%.
It's like once I became in alignment with myself through meditation and consistent practice, and I act on my great excitement because it's like you know what the feeling is and you feel the emotion, but you got to act on it. So it's not like you just sit there and you're like, oh man, wow, that'd be a cool idea. Like you have to actually do something physically to bring that emotion, that feeling down into this physical density. And
Earthly
so,
realm, yeah.
what was that?
Into this earthly realm.
Yeah, into this
Yeah.
earthly realm, right? So we got to bring it here for it in its physical to give it a physical expression, and in doing so, everything naturally operates in a way to ensure that you can do the thing that most excites you because that's actually the most beneficial thing that you can do not only for yourself but to all those around you. If you think of the kind of person you are when you're excited,
Mm-hmm.
dude, everyone likes being around you. You're excited guy. Think about anyone listening, and me and you too. Me and you can think of people that, like they're just excited. They're
Mm-hmm.
happy. It's like I'd rather be talking to these guys than talking to dudes that are like, man, this shit hard, man.
Yeah.
Life sucks, and this or like they're just like, yeah, man.
So,
Yeah.
so when you say it, kind of also say it kind of goes back to an earlier point as far as like how we perceive exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your version of exciting is probably different from this person's version of
Mhm.
exciting, and reason why I'm saying that is because I could be learning something, educating myself,
Mhm.
even though I'm tired. It's a little
Mhm.
boring. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it's exciting to me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
well, if one decides to dabble in that space or want to, make a group of things and talk about this more and more and more, they be like, yo, that's the reason why you probably call your going out person. Be like,
Mm-hmm.
don't call me because I'm not your going out person. We not,
Mm-hmm.
you're not finna get fun out of Joe. As far
But
as what our
see,
perception
yeah,
or what I consider fun, I'm not the call out guy.
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I 100% agree with you. And it's like, however, okay, excitement and enthusiasm,
Mm-hmm.
it looks different, but it feels the same.
Okay.
So it's like, no matter what it is, you can kind of, like you don't necessarily get as animated as me,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, we've spent a lot of time with one another. You don't get as animated me about certain things.
Yeah.
You get excited though, it's just as excited about me in your own way, and that's what I feel.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Because most time, because that puts me in a space of knowing that this is what makes you happy. This is what makes you do. This is your floor. This is your, I don't want to say this is your space. And even if I know something about that space, I'm going to allow you to always have that floor
Mm-hmm.
because that's your space. You are the artist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the videographer or photographer.
Yeah.
And this is why you're going to be in that space. Even though if I want to get on stage, to be on stage, I guess main character, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why separation tends to happen because they want to be also, what'd you call that P. Diddy situation? Not the oil thing, but the,
Not the whole.
you want to be on stage with the artist. What do you call that? Like
You want to be like performing.
in the culture, they say that I'm not trying to be on stage with Because you know how Diddy was always on stage with his artists when it was nothing to do with Diddy.
Yeah, he was just
He
there.
just wanted to be on stage with the
Yeah.
artist. And the culture, we call it something, but I can't remember the name, a
I'm
label for
not
it.
groupie. Entourage.
Oh, and that's not that. It's just that. But my point is, it's just like some people want to be a part of everything when they can't be a part of everything.
Yeah.
And you just got to know how to dial it back. And that's what I like about the younger generation too, because they know how to collectively, in a way, work as teams.
So I want to add into what you're saying.
Go for it.
When you are operating in alignment, that doesn't happen. Because if you are a passionate videographer, you have no desire to be behind the camera or in front of the camera.
100%.
You're excited doing the videography.
Yeah.
And when you meet the person who's excited about being on film, there is no conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Conflict is a byproduct of people not being in alignment. When you are in alignment, there is no conflict. The conflict is an internal thing. It's not an external circumstance.
To add to what you're saying, would you say that to be in alignment, sometimes you might be ahead or behind in that alignment space to kind of understand or to interpret that either, because I was speaking with someone recently, I told him, I said, yeah, you act totally different than, when I first met you.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, man, I've grown up a bit. I was like, I see. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Because he did something that what I would consider to be disingenuous. And I was like, yeah, you've grown up a lot. And I respect and I like it. But he also acknowledged the fact that, I'm not like my younger self. So, of course, I can say he's getting into alignment as well.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, that's where I'm saying, as far as like when some people are just in different spaces when we consider alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, that matrix space.
Mm-hmm.
I consider spirituality, that realm, also like it's different type of matrix. Whereas then you got the escape the 9-to-5 matrix, and then you got the, I guess, straw man matrix. It's like so many different levels of unlocking or separating yourself from the entity of some sort. There's like,
okay, wait. So, okay.
I said a lot.
Huh?
I said a lot.
No. I'm just trying to. There's things sometimes I want to comment on, but I also want you to finish.
Yeah, you're
and
good.
I'm like, he's going on. I want to comment on that. I just wanted to comment on when you say there's differences and places of alignment, right? Yeah, 100%. People's journey, they're at different progress stages. I'm on my chapter 3 may be your chapter 17, and your chapter 17 may be this guy's chapter 95. However, the way it all works, it all cohesively goes together. So it doesn't matter if he's on chapter 3. I'm on chapter 17. This guy's on chapter 2. This guy's in a whole different book. The way alignment works is if we're all aligned, there's harmony, right? It's like the scales of a piano. You could play the E from each octave, right? I think it's like seven octaves on an 88 keyboard panel. You could play all of those, and they all harmonize. They're on different frequencies. They're on different levels, but it's all harmony. And the disharmony and the problems come from when someone, it doesn't matter where they're at in their journey, they're just not operating in alignment. So even if someone just started in their journey, this is a ton of people. I run into people just starting in a journey. They harmonize perfectly with me, who's been on a journey for some time now, and I'm able to recognize where they are. They're able to recognize where I'm at in relation to them. And what happens in that relationship is they recognize that, right now, they're the student. They're asking questions. They're learning. And I recognize in that same situation that I'm the teacher in this situation, and I'm giving them my information to help them get something, right? But both of us are served because I like to teach. I like to provide that type of information and guidance. And in this situation, he likes to receive, or she likes to receive. She wants to hear. She wants to see what's going on. And we're both fulfilled, even though we're on different parts of our journey.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And so it doesn't matter what part of the journey you are. When you're aligned, it's always just this continuity of flow.
Yeah. And the reason why I do agree to that is because then, in a way, one or either are surpassing that space of ego and enviness and
Mm-hmm.
feeling like a personal attacking,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you're starting to grow, you're starting to elevate, you're starting to realize that it's you. It's not about just you. It's about the people around you as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not everybody, you know, I call it what it is. I still think a lot of people are agents, but it is what it is. But it's just like not everybody's wanting to wake up and get into that alignment space.
So, okay, first of all, yes, I agree. Not everyone, a lot of people unintentionally, if you're not a commander of your life, someone else is.
100%, just like you said earlier, in regards to not being a victim, but
Yeah, if you give your power away to those things, then they have power over you. But it's a completely an optional thing. It's like no one can take power. It's like a consent-based thing. It's like you have to say, okay, man, this is you have. Oh man, my boss has this power over you. Okay, then it's true. And if vice versa, if you go, no, you have no power over me, then that's true. Whatever you say it is what it is. And so, which may be a challenging concept for some people because a lot of times I speak about these things and then people immediately their mind goes in defense of like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Of trying to say no because well, what are you gonna do if your boss just fires you?
yeah,
See, well, what about that? I'm like, dude, what if were you passionate? Did you love where you working? Where does it feel with joy? No, bro, but it's just like see, you're in this alignment. So of course, the only byproduct of that is and it's and so, the friction is meant to steer you towards your alignment, just like the joy is meant to steer you towards your alignment. When you're in a situation and you feel uncomfortable, you don't like it, you feel personally attacked. That is information about you as your ego and as your soul. It's like you're getting information like, man, what? I don't like that way that dude was talking. Like, like you can go inside and go, why didn't I like the way that guy was talking? Well, I think it's because he was talking in a demeaning manner. Well, why does that even matter? Why does it matter that someone's because no one should speak to me like that and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, so why is someone speaking to you a certain way changing the value you perceive about yourself? And it's an explorative journey that you go, huh? Well, maybe if someone does speak that way, maybe it doesn't change. If someone I was at the gym, bro. This guy, he was talking a little crazy, bro. I was like,
reckless.
yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? A younger Rob,
Yeah.
and so he was kind of talking, and I was like, hey, man, I really hope you have a good rest of the night, man. And whatever's bothering you, whatever's going on, I really hope you deal with it. And he was just like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, yeah, you want to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Austin's just full of nice people, huh? I was like, it is, man. Austin is full of nice people.
You made me think of a relatable situation of my younger self because you said I would have acted out of character. And it was a dude that was into that space of what we would consider to be, I guess, pyramid schemes back then or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think pyramid schemes was pyramid schemes because you had to learn something from it, and what you take away from it, you could have applied it to your life moving forward.
Yeah.
But it was this day we was playing basketball, and I got so heated. And he asked me, he's a black guy too. He was asking me. He said, "Something going on? Like, what's going on?" Like, and I was just like, when he was telling me about it, we sat down after we finished the game, I didn't go into detail what was wrong with me, but the question itself put things in perspective, like moving forward, of how I look at things. Where it's like, if that got me out of character and made me act a certain way, 9 times out of 10, there's something going on. So what you were saying earlier, what the dude was getting out of character or whatever, and you killed it with kindness, and he was like, everybody's just nice in Austin. And it's just like, you had something going on. You had a lot of energy balled up, and you just wanted to exert it in some type of way. And I think that's what happens to a lot of males, ladies as well, where you don't ever speak or doing what we're doing, having this, what's the podcast called? I'm sorry again.
Conscious continuity.
this conscious continuity therapy session, it just helps,
Yeah,
as far
yeah,
as conversing and communicating with one another. And to, not to cut you off what you said earlier, I do think that people personalize situations when we talk amongst one another,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
even with, especially with the ladies,
Mm,
with people in general. You'll talk about a generalizing perspective or a topic at hand,
mm,
and if they start to get defensive and feeling like they feel attacked, then it becomes a personalized situation on
mm-hmm.
how they respond.
Mm.
And I'm just like, this is supposed to be a general topic, dude, and
Yeah.
you just personally feel attacked, and now we can't even have if you want to call it a simple
Civilized.
civilized,
Mm-hmm.
debate or what have you, and it just becomes more of a
Thing.
defense of.
Yeah, it's like now people are attacking their characters, and like if you look at this is a problem that I actually have with podcasts like the whatever podcast where it's
Okay,
like
yeah, I know what you're talking about,
they get on these these girls or
like
these
the Fresh and Fit.
yeah, and it's like the whole point of podcast is like just to slam dunk on women and like be like, oh, what an idiot, bimbo, you're stupid, bro, God, you're
Yeah.
it's like bro, that's not helping any like I have never seen ever in any competitive thing or any game where you talk shit to somebody and they go, man, yeah, I am a loser. I'm gonna listen to you now. I've never seen that ever happen, bro. Or it's like, yeah, I guess I am a stupid bitch. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm dumb. Yeah. Like,
Hmm.
what the hell? Like, what is
Hmm.
going on? So it's like, it's the responsibility of a great leader and a great host, I believe, to, it's like, introduce different perspectives in
Hmm.
a way that your guest can be receptive of it. Because the idea for me is I'm trying to impress my ideas upon the world because I want to live in a world where people collaborate, work together, and I need to be an example of that. The only way I can experience that if I am that, right? We can only experience that which we are. And I
Hmm.
believe these scenarios when you run into people and you get really mad and angry, it's like because that's the wavelength you're on. You're
Hmm.
on this wavelength that's attracting these kind of experiences, and you need to discover. And apparently, you don't like it because it's making you mad. So unless you just like being mad, like apparently you don't like it. So you need to do some investigation to figure out why is it on you're on that wavelength, and then figure out where do you want to go. You need two things when you're trying to get somewhere. You need to know where you currently are, and you need to know the destination of where you're trying to go. And then this will allow you to map a route mentally.
Hmm.
Even if you don't understand how to get there, you just need to know where you're at and then where you're trying to go, and then the directions will naturally come to you. With meditation, this is what conscious continuity is all about. Um, but back on the subject of those podcasts, it's like if someone says something, like there's so many times I meet people and I say a general statement. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, like if you're overweight and you're heavily obese, you're generally, I mean, I haven't met any of those people who were like actually really authentically happy, in a way that, if I asked them, well, if you could be any kind of way right now and you suddenly had this money, would you choose, like, this is what you would pick? You would pick to be
You're right.
300 pounds, sloppy, big
Probably
back.
want to get surgery or something to that
Like
nature.
if you could just instantly recreate your body, you're telling me that's what you would recreate.
Hmm.
Dude, no, that's not like I haven't had anyone. Now, if they're being defensive, they probably will say, "Yeah, I love myself. Yeah, I
Right.
love all my roles." Like they'll probably say something like that. However, that only happens if someone's being defensive. If you ask in such a genuine and caring way, I'm like, no, hey, I'm just. But honestly, for you, like if like for me, growing up, there's a character that I want to look like. His name is Lord Rainier.
Mm.
And my first video game tag was based off this character, and he's just monstrous, big demon like human. He's a human, but people think he's a demon because he's just so massive and strong, and like so people. But he just doesn't. He just doesn't bend the knee, and so they make him out to be an evil guy.
Okay.
But he's just not submitting to what you're saying. That doesn't make him evil. And then you can't go force him because he's strong. And like I like that. I like that idea of character. And so physically, I wanted to look like him.
Hmm.
When I was a little kid, and I started, working out. That's actually why I started working out. I can remember me first doing my first set of push-ups.
Hmm.
And I was trying to do 10. I did like 4, and then I think I started crying because I couldn't do 10. But
That's crazy.
I know it was such a long time ago. I think because my dad or something was, I don't know. But anyways, the reason why I say all that is because if we are it like the point of conversation. Why you talk to anybody, is because you're trying to convey your thoughts and ideas on the people. And the conversations that excite you the most usually are the ones where you guys get along, you're resonating about a subject.
And it's not necessarily not to cut you off, but to
Oh, no, you're
add
fine.
to what you're
I'm
saying.
just going.
It's not to like a lot of talk. Even my talking points, I'm not here to change your mind or persuade you. I want you to know that this is a safe space for you to speak your mind, and if whatever I'm saying resonate with you, and vice versa, and we can look at it from that standpoint, or we can act on it, or we don't act on it. Because sometimes at the end of the day, when it becomes not natural, or authentic, or seem like it's forced, it's like, because this is what sometimes happens too.
Mm.
Like it'll come off like I'm trying to tell you to go this direction, and I can tell your defense mechanism finna kick in, and you were finna do the straight opposite, kind of like to your earlier point. No, I love my rose.
Mm-hmm.
This time, there is like, oh, so basically I was coming off, kind of set the tone on why you said what you said, but you
Yeah.
don't realize I know what you just did there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of like I have to go in at a different approach.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a you problem, it's a me problem. How I gotta
Dude, see,
go with
okay,
it. You see
that's
what
a
I'm saying?
beautiful thing that you just said right there. And I
Mhm.
think if we can all take that perspective, bro, our communication would improve so much because I was trying to tell you something. You responded defensively. I could blame you and be like, oh, you're defensive. You're not open minded. No, it is a lack of my ability to orate myself in such a way to impress upon your mind in a way that doesn't trigger your defenses.
Mhm.
And so I love that you take responsibility for that because that's the role. It's like if you're honest about, well, what did you want that reaction to happen? It's like, no, I just wanted to I want to share this and like this, but
Right.
obviously the way I shared it to this person didn't produce that result. Therefore, I need to change the input. And so, and I do that so many times, and sometimes people don't even realize I'm doing it. Like I'll ask a question, they don't answer it, and then I ask the same question like,
Different words.
30 seconds later in a different way, and then they answer it.
I think it helps when we know each other. I think it helps when we know each other. It makes it easier. Whereas if you just meet someone new, they're gonna automatically get triggered that way. Whereas when we knowing each other, we kind of understand that we only want what's best. We want, everything to what's best for one another at the end of the day. So
That's true.
if you take it personally, maybe it's needed to be said because sometimes somebody care about you. Somebody love you. No different than a coach. A coach, if he ain't talking to you about anything, you're probably not ideal for him wanting even to speak with you. Like, go run the yards, go run the, But hey, if I'm in your ear every day, like, hey, what time you gonna be here on time? You late? You gotta definitely run. You see, because I actually care about you and love you, and to the point that I want to see you get better. And that could be for anything, relatives, significant other. But if that's not the case, it's kind of like, because I'm just treating you like, because I don't really care for you like that. It's just something to do. So
I mean, I agree with the notion that it is easier to be receptive to people you know and have understanding with. And honestly, that's what I strive for when I talk to anybody. It's like in the shortest amount of time, I want to be able to deliver whatever I'm meant to deliver in that moment to that person in such a way that it is beneficial to them and beneficial to me. And I want to bypass those defense mechanisms, and that's what I'm consistently working on. I'm consistently
that feeling.
Developing out that intuitive muscle of sensing their energy and their body language. And as I'm talking to them, because sometimes I could tell, like, I talk about something spiritual, conscious, and I see people kind of get like uneasy, and I just change the subject matter to something else because I see that makes them uncomfortable, or at least the way I was speaking about it does, and so I got to meet them at a different spot.
Yeah, because it's like, well, are we talking about religion or are we talking about spirituality? And it's like, I get what you're saying for sure. And what I was gonna tell you. No, I was looking at the time. That's the reason why I was like,
oh yeah, we got a couple more minutes. But yeah, no. In the future, I would totally love to dive more into your views of astrology, numerology, your thoughts on that. How do you the significance of that? Do you think it plays in your life? If any, is there things that you notice with it? And kind of go off of that because I think you were into astrology when I had no like understanding of it really, But I was very receptive to when you were talking about it, and I was
Right.
asking you questions. I was like, "Oh, okay." So, and then you would be saying like, "Well, see, you a Virgo, so blah blah."
You crazy.
I'd be like, "Bro, what?" I was really not ever receptive because like one class I took in psych, it was like Psych 101. The first thing that they'd say is like, "Okay, we're gonna give you all a piece of paper, and it has two statements,
Hmm.
and then they're just flipped upside down. So it's like one statement here, and people get, and they go, "Hey, does anyone feel like this describes you?" And
Hmm.
like 80% of the room raise a hand. It's like, yeah, well, it says the same thing for everybody. So that's
Or
why
30%.
it's bullshit. That's like so the first class I took was just like shitting on astrology for some reason. That's like psychology. But um, however, it's really just a limited understanding of what it is.
Like a foreign language.
Yeah, it's like people who don't understand the mechanics of the universe
Hmm.
going, yeah, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't fit within their local level of understanding. And if they can't fit it in there, they go, "Oh, it must my knowledge is pure and perfect.
Hmm.
This thing doesn't fit. Therefore, this thing must be irrelevant and dumb."
Yeah, from societal
Yes.
standard of indoctrination.
Yes, exactly.
It kind of prevents you from thinking outside that scope of
Exactly.
if this is even a possibility of
Yes.
a way of thinking.
Yes.
Even in that outer realm, it's like the indoctrination of how society shove that information and anything that I say to you. If you're gonna think you're right about it, okay, cool, so be it. It's just like you got it. I can't even. I don't even want to engage any
Yeah,
further
yeah. It's
because
like
it's like I'm gonna allow you to have it. And sometimes people don't even allow you to have it. They just want to keep going. And I'm
they
just
just want to
like,
fight. Dude, I mean, even recently there's people like I can tell they're trying to argue. Like they want to argue. And I'm
hmm,
like, and I just start laughing. I'm like, "You want to fight? I don't want to fight. You want to fight?" And
yeah,
they're like, "I'm not trying to fight. I'm this, that, and the other." I was like, "Nah, you're not getting me. You're not
yeah,
getting me." And and it's just
yeah,
so funny because it's like that's the state they're in. Like
hmm,
they're in a state like, "Urgh." And then if you don't fan the flame, then if the flame dies out, and they're like trying to maintain the flame, they're like, "Yeah, well, this and then you did this thing, and then
hmm,
you said this too." Like it's especially with women, in my experience at least, it's like, well, this, and if I'm not engaged, they keep trying to attack, like they keep
yeah.
trying to get you to fight.
I definitely experienced that before. I definitely experienced that before, even with the ladies. It's like either you nonchalant, you're very patient, and things that doesn't work for them in situations of the heat of the moment. It's
Yeah.
like you would want if we talking about relationships. I think you should want this for your man because in any given situation, in the heat of the moment, that's not even related to you. It could be a burning building. It could be something, catastrophizing to
Mhm.
the point where you like, what do we do? And you already got it figured out
Mm,
because you know how to handle those situations of the
mm,
heat of the moment.
mm.
So it's just kind of like, I guess in a relationship scenario, if it's not benefiting her, it doesn't really matter.
Dude,
So I
it,
love my ladies, but I'm not trying to come for you, but it has to
we
benefit you in this.
we totally have to. We'll continue this. We'll totally have to get on next time and talk about some of these because we've shared a lot of thoughts about this and I like these thoughts. It may be a DC 100 thing, but I don't know. Maybe we can just string it into conscious continuity, like an alignment. Talking about alignment, I think there's really a lot to say in alignment with divine femininity, divine masculinity kind of thing. So. But yeah, this concludes this particular episode. Man, I might have to start doing like 2-hour sessions.
Hey,
I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Oliver. Do you want to say any of your socials or where people can find you at? You don't care about any of that?
no,
Okay, cool. Well, hey
no.
man, just know he's an awesome, great sounding, deep voice person. One of the first things I just want to talk to him, I was like, damn, bro, his voice deep, man. I was like, dang, man, is what I thought it was cool. But yeah, thanks for coming in. Thanks to our sponsor, ClearPath Credit. If you haven't seen them or you don't know anything, you can check out ClearPath Credit. They help you get your business funded, and they help you deal with your personal credit. And you can reach them. You can find them at apply.clearpathcredit.org and go on there and find all sorts of helpful information. Again, thank you guys for listening to another podcast of Conscious Continuity. I will see you guys next time.